All right. So again, good morning. I want to thank everyone for joining us today here for the Lunch and Learn series hosted by Ian Wesley Helms Junior Community Outreach Center. We have some great information available and ready for you guys today. Um, Title, as you can see here, Build a Better You with Toastmasters International. And I just want to tell you a little bit about the center because I do see a couple of new people here. So with the center, we work with other nonprofits as well as presenters as we are today, as well as for-profits to host different lunch and learns to help scale businesses as well as individuals and help take them to the next level, because that's all a part of our mission, which is creating those sustainable pathways out of poverty for both young people and families in Dallas. Along with that, we also do different skills training programs, such as our low voltage program, which should be coming back this summer. So if you know anyone that's looking to pick up a new trade or skill, we would love to have them. It is a background friendly opportunity. As well as we have our annual Juneteenth Economic Forum, and we have some great information available this year. We're looking to teach different things about Turo and Airbnb and how to barter and how to find those different resources when you find yourself in emergency situations. And if you're looking to live abroad and how to make your money stretch further. And then cryptocurrency always seems to slip somewhere inside the conversation because we're very big on that here at the center. And then lastly, before I tell you all a little bit more about these ladies that we have here today, is that we have a financial wellness group, which is aimed towards women that are looking to grow their assets as well as their revenue. It is, and I have Audrey on the line here. So Audrey, correct me if you hear me saying anything wrong. I believe it is a 12-week program. So it is a 12-week commitment, and you will actually be placed with a coach. And that coach, you all will have goals and objectives, and make sure that they'll provide you with different resources to help you reach those along the way. So it's definitely a great opportunity if, like I said, you're looking to grow your revenue and your assets. And even if you're not interested, we encourage you to share that information. And then also we have our cash flow class, which is very, very popular, where they speak about how money moves throughout the economy and moves into the different asset classes. So that way you can make better decisions for your money here today as well as in the future. They speak a lot about the stock market. So again, that's where the cryptocurrency conversation comes from. They're going to speak about gold and silver, as well as they're going to speak about, like I said, any type of if there's any turmoil going on and what does that necessarily do to the economy, and how to prepare and plan for those different changes. And I think that's a broad overview of it. And most of the people that come into that fold or come into that group typically stay with the center for at least a year. And then the idea is that you'll learn enough that you'll be able to go out and actually teach others as well. So we want to make sure that we're sharing this information with as many people. And again, if that doesn't sound like something that you need, we encourage you again to share that information with others. So without further ado, let me tell you a little bit about the ladies that we have with us today. So first, I would like to start off with a thank you to them for donating their time to the center, because they could have done a million other things here this morning, but instead they decided to bring us this valuable information to not only our center, but to you all. So we definitely appreciate you all for doing that and for being so good at your trade and your skill. So we have with us today Lawana Porter as well as Charlene Burrows. I hope I pronounced your last name correctly. And together they have a combined 3 decades of experience in Toastmasters, serving as leaders at the local club, district, and regional levels. Lawana is the Public Relations Manager for Toastmasters District 50, which supports 150 clubs in Dallas, Northeast Texas, as well as Shreveport, with training, public relations, club growth, and quality programming. Lawana lends her public relations and marketing expertise to district leaders and members to communicate the benefits of Toastmasters and grow public awareness of the program's training in public speaking and leadership skills. Then we have Charlene, who currently serves as the Regional Advisor for Toastmasters Region 5, covering districts in Chicago, Illinois, Iowa, North and Northeast Texas, Houston, Texas, and the surrounding area, and Shreveport, Louisiana, and supporting 677 Toastmasters clubs. So Charlene helps to sustain and grow clubs by advising and educating district leaders on strategies for working with business and community organizations to encourage them to start clubs in their own cities within their spheres of influence. So without further ado, we're going to turn the floor. I'm going to turn the floor over to these ladies. And from there, they're going to present. And then again, if you have any questions, we ask that you please hold those to the end. They do want to make this interactive. So please make sure that you are jotting those questions down. You can put them in the chat if you like, and then we can read those aloud. Or like I said, if you jot them down, you'll be more than glad. They'll let you know when you can unmute your microphones, and then you all can just be able to speak freely. So again, without further ado, I'm turning the floor over. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone, and greetings. Charlene and I are delighted that you've taken time out of your schedule to join us today. We are so hopeful that we're going to share something that's going to pique your interest about Toastmasters, and we hope that you will take an opportunity to explore this opportunity a lot further, because it is really a benefit to individuals seeking to grow themselves politically, professionally, not politically, professionally, as leaders and communicators. Charlene and I have known each other for a number of years. She is a stellar example of a Toastmasters leader, and I'm just delighted to have her be a co-presenter. Before we start, I certainly want to thank and acknowledge Jasmine Anderson and Loretta Simon with the Zan Wesley Home Center, and thank you so much for giving us an opportunity to use your platform and to share some of the information about Toastmasters. Charlene, would you like a few opening remarks?
I would just like to say I'm really glad to be here. I hope that as you go through and listen to us today, you hear something that piques your interest and ask further questions about it at the end. Toastmasters is where leaders are made, and it's been a great asset as I've gone through my Toastmasters membership. I've learned so much. I've grown as a leader. It's a good experience to learn with people who are very much like family. Back to you, Loretta.
I like to start with asking you, what is your why? What is your why for wanting to improve your leadership and communication skills? The world is in dire need of quality leaders, people like all of us who have a vision and who want to make a difference in the world. Whatever that issue is that perhaps keeps you up at night or worries you or has you talking back to the television during the news, if there's something there that you think, somebody ought to do something about that, that is where leadership comes in. Every organization had to start somewhere. When Ralph Smedley started Toastmasters, and we're going to hear a little bit more about the history of the organizations from Charlene, he had a vision in his mind. He wanted to give people an opportunity to develop themselves as leaders and communicators. And that need is no less today than it has ever been. We do need individuals with the skills, the vision, the integrity, the character, who want to do something to address the many issues that are out there in our world today. Toastmasters is one vehicle that we think can benefit you as you move forward in your journey toward becoming a better leader. You can see on the screen there are multiple things that you can benefit from as a Toastmasters. You learn to set goals. How important is that? Create a plan of action. Learn how to work with other people and communicate. And employers today will tell you the soft skills of having a positive attitude and being able to work cooperatively and collaboratively with others is a major, major requirement in today's economy and today's workforce. Toastmasters can offer you these and many other benefits. And hopefully, as we go through today's presentation, you're going to say, I think they're talking to me. And you're going to want to explore Toastmasters even further.
Luana, I'd like to add my why. I put what is your why in the chat, hoping that people would tell us their whys. About 15 years ago, somebody made the mistake, and I'm calling it a mistake, of asking me to be mistress of ceremonies at Pastors and Wife's anniversary. It was a complete disaster. I'd never done anything like that before. And if you have ever done presenting at church functions, you know it's a whole different language. So if I think back to it, I could actually want to go through this floor in my office. It was that bad. And I went to work the following day, got in the elevator, and it was like angels were singing from above. A light shone, and there was a sign on the wall that says, "Do you need help with public speaking? Toastmasters can help." And that was my why. Now,
If
Charlotte has told us that Toastmasters has been one of the best self-help organizations she's gotten involved in and done for herself. And what she's learned comes into play every day. And her why was to get over her fear of speaking in front of people.
we all have a why, and we do encourage you to think about it. If you're not yet sure what your why for wanting to become a better leader and communicator is, give that some thought, because that can be the very thing that motivates you to take the first step toward becoming a better leader and a communicator. I am 60 something and I want to leave a legacy with younger people. I want to encourage them and motivate them to develop themselves personally and professionally. That is my why. That's my why for being a Toastmaster. That is my why for joining you here today, to help you to see some of the possible benefits of becoming a better leader and a better communicator. Of course, we know that leaders need to be able to communicate. They need to be able to speak to individuals in ways that motivate them and move them. Effective communication is just as essential as the desire to become a leader. You've got to know how to get your ideas across clearly in a specified time limit, how to speak so others understand, and you want to avoid those crutch words. I'm sure Charlene will be sharing a little bit more about those crutch words later. Toastmasters really helps you become much more aware of crutch words that can cripple you in terms of getting your message across. Of course, we want to speak using good grammar. We want to learn the importance of pacing. And when you hear those sermons that just stir you and those speakers out there in the world that move you, I even referred to President Biden last evening. As I was listening, you noticed he had vocal variety. He wasn't using the same tone of voice the whole time. Good speakers learn the importance of vocal variety. They learn how to express themselves with tone. They learn how to emphasize, how to use their voices to emphasize their message. What else, Charlene?
I will tell you, good speakers know how to pay attention to the audience. Even in a Zoom environment, you want to make sure you're looking at the camera, and that's your way of looking people in the eye. Look at the camera, they'll think you're looking at them. Now, the tendency is to look down and try to look at people's faces. If you do that, they think you're looking down. So look at the camera and make sure that you watch out for those crutch words like, oh, like, if they knew you wouldn't be speaking. Toastmasters help you to eliminate those things.
Toastmasters is all about leadership and speaking excellence. It's a nonprofit educational organization. It is a global organization that teaches people how to become better speakers and leaders through a worldwide network of clubs. Charlene's going to share just a little bit about the history of Toastmasters and the scope of that global organization.
Toastmasters is almost 100 years old. You see, it started in 1924. Ralph Smedley, the founder of Toastmasters, was the education director at the YMCA in a city in Illinois. And he realized that the men there just couldn't lead meetings. They had trouble speaking in public. They didn't know how to take leadership roles. So he went to his director and asked if he could start a group where he helped young men become more effective leaders. So they did. They got up, they gave speeches, and better speakers would give them feedback on what they did well and where they could improve. They took turns running the meeting. Everything was going well. They were doing really well. And then Ralph was transferred to a YMCA in sunny California. He started working there and he missed his opportunity to help young men there too. They were struggling as well. So once again, he went to his leadership and he asked if he could start a group there. And he did, and Toastmasters has gone ever since. Now, you've heard me say men. We didn't have a woman in Toastmasters till 1974. There was a woman named Helen Blanchard, named Helen Blanchard, who lived on a naval base in California. And she had cleaned all the closets in her house. She'd done everything, and her kids were going to school every day. She was bored. So she wrote to Toastmasters International. They told her, no, we're a men's organization. She didn't stop. She wrote to the president of the local club because she'd learned about them through reading the Navy news. And he told her, yeah, we're a men's club. But then he took it to the membership and they voted to let her come. So she joined Toastmasters as Homer Blanchard. A couple of years later, Toastmasters decided that women could join Toastmasters, and Homer took her real name, Helen. And the best thing that happened with Helen, Helen became the first woman to be president of Toastmasters International, about 10 years after she joined. We're all around the world. Some of our fastest growing markets are in Africa and Asia. Right now, we have 364,000 members, all in 145 countries, and there's 16,200 plus clubs all around, and more clubs are being started every day. Luana.
Clubs are the secret sauce of Toastmasters success. With an organization as large as Toastmasters, you've got to figure out, how does the club connect with individuals? We do it through a club structure. There are hundreds of clubs in the Dallas-Fort Worth area alone, which is an opportunity for individuals to find a niche where they feel comfortable, to meet other Toastmasters, to give their Toastmasters speeches, to get evaluations, and to become better over time. It is a supportive, non-critical environment. Even though you receive an evaluation for every speech you give, your Toastmasters club members are pulling for you. They are there to support you in your journey. And everything in Toastmasters revolves around the member in the club. You can certainly find a club that is near you. If you've never been to a Toastmasters club, we'd like to give you a quick preview of what a club experience is like. I think we're having trouble being heard. Is that the case? Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Giving a formal speech or fulfilling a particular meeting role.
Okay, so let's
Ready
go
to
ahead
visit a
and start
club?
again.
It's free, and you can become more. Hello, I'm Stacy. Thanks for visiting Toastmasters International, where more than 4 million people have become more confident speakers and leaders. They did so by visiting a Toastmasters club in their company or community. When you visit a club, you'll find 3 things. Members give speeches, they take on meeting roles, and they have a great time learning. There's no designated teacher in a Toastmasters meeting. Instead, much of the learning happens by doing a particular task, such as giving a formal speech or fulfilling a particular meeting role. Ready to visit a club? It's free, and you can find one near you on the Toastmasters website at www.toastmasters.org. The purpose of the meeting roles is to help the members improve their speaking and leadership skills by providing feedback and evaluation. There are 7 different meeting roles: Toastmaster of the Day, Awe Counter, Grammarian, Timer, Evaluator, Table Topics Master, and General Evaluator. Every meeting is started by the club president, who introduces the Toastmaster of the Day. The Toastmaster of the Day is the host of the meeting. Fulfilling this role is great practice for leading meetings. The Toastmaster begins by introducing people who will fill other meeting roles for the day. He or she acts like an MC and keeps the meeting flowing smoothly and on time. Many clubs use an awe counter to document the number of filler words members use while speaking. At the end of each meeting, the awe counter reports how many ahs, ums, and other similar words each speaker used. This helps members become more aware of unintended words or sounds they make when they speak. The grammarian helps members expand their vocabularies. One of the grammarian's duties is to provide a word of the day and its definition. If a member uses the word of the day or says something well, the grammarian calls attention to it. As the name implies, the timer records the exact length of each speech. He or she also uses timing lights to help speakers stay within their allocated time limits. The general evaluator takes notes throughout the meeting and reports back to everyone, giving specific feedback on how well the meeting flowed and also on how future meetings might be improved. The general evaluator also calls for reports by the awe counter, grammarian, and timer. In every club meeting, there are at least 2 members who present speeches. These speakers don't just stand up and start talking. They use the guidelines in their designated education manuals to prepare their presentations and reach the objectives for each speech. Every speaker who has prepared speeches in advance enjoys one of Toastmasters' greatest benefits: evaluation. Think of it as having a friend watch you practice a speech and then give you helpful feedback. The speaker usually meets with an evaluator before the meeting and asks the evaluator to pay attention to certain aspects of the talk. After all the speeches are done, the evaluators present their feedback in front of the club, covering areas such as, did the speakers use their hands to gesture well? Did they control their voices throughout the speeches? What did they do especially well, and what are some ideas for improvement? In addition to prepared speeches, a few minutes are set aside for table topics. This is often the most challenging, but also the most fun part of our meetings. During table topics, a series of questions or speaking topics are presented, and members are selected to respond on the spot. This is excellent training for those situations that come up in everyone's lives, where we have to think fast and say just the right thing. It might be a job interview, a sales meeting, or a dinner conversation. Table topics are great for practicing and honing the skills of impromptu speaking. Now that all the reports have been made, the president calls the meeting to a close. Everyone joins Toastmasters with a personal goal. Maybe it's a goal to become a more confident presenter, or learn how to run a meeting, or think faster on your feet. Whatever it is, you can achieve your goal if you participate. So, what's your goal? For more information on the club experience, please visit a Toastmasters club. To learn more about how you can become a better speaker and leader, visit www.toastmasters.org. To find a Toastmasters meeting near you, visit the Find a Club section at www.toastmasters.org.
That was a great example of what to expect at a Toastmasters meeting. It gives you some real insight. Of course, one thing you should know is that because of the coronavirus situation, clubs right now are meeting virtually. Really, they're meeting in the same format that we're currently sitting in. The meetings are being held online, which in a way is a great idea because it gives you an opportunity to visit a meeting without ever leaving the comfort of your living room. We have many clubs that are meeting right now online that would welcome you to just pop in and say, I'd like to learn a little bit more about Toastmasters. You can observe if you like, you can participate, and I was especially intrigued by the table topics portion of the meeting. Charlene, talk a little bit about the importance of the table topics experience in a Toastmasters meeting.
Steve Jobs, rest in peace, was notorious for getting on elevators and running into people and asking them, what have you done for Apple today? And if you gave the wrong answer, it could be a career-ending choice. Toastmasters helps you, Table Topics helps you prepare for those situations. When you run into your CEO, you run into your supervisor, and they say, good morning, what are you working on today? And you're thinking, what am I working on today? Table Topics prepares you so that you can just speak off the cuff. It's a great idea for helping you with those times that you hadn't planned to give a speech. That's what Table Topics gives all of us.
I think one of the important aspects of the Toastmasters meeting is You participate, as the narrator just mentioned. There are 7 roles in every Toastmasters meeting. So the odds are you will have a role in most of the meetings that you go to, should you choose to take a role. That means it's participatory. You're learning as you go. And there's nothing like standing up at the lectern, being in charge of a meeting, to give you that feeling of being a leader, because that is exactly what you are. There are many of us who have never run a meeting. We don't know exactly how that goes. Toastmasters is an amazing training ground for you to take the first step at leading a meeting. And of course, the evaluations, individuals are there to give you some positive critique about how you performed and what you might be able to do better. Let's move to the next slide, Charlene.
And as we move, Lawana, I'd like to share some of the things in the chat. Dr. Fox told us that one reason she wants to improve as a speaker and leader is her blessing blockers. Sometimes it can be fear of failure or fear of success. And Charlotte has put in the chat that when she was first introduced to Toastmasters, she thought it was only about speaking, but the leadership skills that she developed helped her grow her personal business.
Thank you so much for noticing that, and thank you to the participants for sharing their information in the chat. The chat is open to you. If there's a comment you'd like to drop in or a question, please feel free to do so. Based on what you've seen, you can realize or recognize how Toastmasters could benefit you as an individual. Of course, you're going to improve your public speaking skills. I often say to myself, how did Michael Jordan get to be so doggone good at basketball? He was out there day after day after day shooting at those baskets. And you know what? If you are participating in Toastmasters on a regular basis, it is amazing how quickly you will start improving. You're going to build your self-confidence and your self-awareness as a speaker. You're going to get those leadership muscles in shape so that when you have the opportunity, as Charlene mentioned, to speak to your CEO in the elevator, you're going to be able to make small talk. And of course, you're going to be writing speeches and presenting them in a group setting. One of the other great things about Toastmasters is it is not a cookie cutter program. If you've decided, I think I want to move my skills in the direction of becoming a motivational speaker, you can do that through Toastmasters. Maybe you have that great skill, which I don't have, of being a humorous speaker. You can learn to make people laugh and get your point across through humor in Toastmasters. There are so many different ways that you can go. And in Toastmasters, we call them pathways. Talk a little bit more about pathways, Charlene.
I'd like to show a graphic if that's okay. So let's move this out the way. And don't turn anything off in the process. There are 11 paths. And are you able to see them, Lawana?
We can see 10 of them, but that's a good start. Yes.
All right, excellent. There are 11 paths that you can partake in as a person who's a member of Toastmasters, all tailored to help you grow in the direction you'd like to go. There's one path called dynamic leadership. And if I were to click on this, it would tell us what dynamic leadership offers. It's a way to improve your skills as a strategic leader. And if you go and you look further, we have put these links in your handout, which you'll get at the end of the presentation. It tells you the number of speeches you have to give. If you're working on the fundamentals, you give 3 speeches. As you're learning about your style in this case, there are 3 speeches where you learn about your leadership style. And this is the one where you have members look at you and do a 360 assessment. Then you increase your knowledge of your leadership styles by talking about negotiating. You do a speech about negotiating, and there are elective projects. There are 2 of them that you can select from here, because remember, Toastmasters is personal growth and it's self-paced. You decide what you want to learn. The next step in dynamic leadership, you're building your skills. There are other elective projects. You have to work on managing change and then you do a speech about one of these topics. Then you demonstrate your expertise as a strategic leader. You give speeches on these, and you don't have to worry about, what am I going to say? How do I craft it? There is a template that will guide you step by step as you plan your speech. And then you choose one of these electives. Now, dynamic leadership is just one of the options you can have as a path you'd like to encounter and go through to improve your skills as a Toastmaster or as a speaker and leader. There's effective coaching. Coaching is very big today. People pay lots of money to have someone to coach them. You will learn the skills you need to be a coach. Engaging humor. We look at comedians, we laugh. Humor is hard, but this allows you to develop your ability to tell jokes by giving about 20 speeches where you build and build and build. Then there's innovative planning for those of you who are interested in project planning. Leadership development, which takes you a little bit higher than dynamic leader. Leadership development is higher. Leadership development is basic. Motivational strategies. You may have to get up and get people to donate money. You might have to stand up and get people to volunteer. Basically, you have to get up and motivate them. That path helps you with that. There's persuasive influence. If you're a salesperson, if you're a spouse, you've got to persuade folk to do things your way. This path will help you with that. You might want to be a master speaker and go out and speak for money. Presentation mastery helps you with that. Strategic relationships. There's team collaboration. There's visionary communication. Those are the basic 11 paths. We have put a link to this page in the chat, and that was a click, and I'll tell you more about that in the information that you will receive later so that you can explore these paths some more. Luana.
Thanks so much, Charlene. It's easy to see that Toastmasters is a tool that can help you go in whatever direction you're motivated to move. It's not a cookie cutter approach. There's so many things. When you divide, or rather, shall I say, multiply all the possibilities of things you can learn through just the 11 pathways, you could see you could be learning for the next 10 years. There is so much there. And I will say that Toastmasters.org is the website that we keep visiting. A lot of this information is available to you, whether you're a member or not, by just going to Toastmasters.org. But as Charlene has mentioned, Jasmine is going to send everyone who's on the call today a handout that has links to the places that we visited on the Toastmasters website that you can go back to at your leisure, and you can view them and learn from them, and you can see them multiple times if you want to. Basically, the pathways let you tailor your Toastmasters journey to meet your personal goals. We want to show you a little bit of information about the pathways journey. One of the things that you need to know is when you first join Toastmasters, you can take an online assessment that asks you some questions, and they help you walk through your interest area. And at the end of the assessment, it recommends a couple of pathways that you might want to consider, but you're not locked in. You can say, I think I want to do that humor one, even though it didn't recommend that you move that in that direction. However, the choice is yours. Let's talk a little bit about pathways right now. We want to show you a quick video about the pathways journey.
Welcome to the Toastmasters Pathways Learning Experience, an exciting, flexible, and interactive way to develop your skills. Building on Ralph Smedley's original vision and Toastmasters' core competencies, Pathways upholds the club experience while offering new, revitalized educational content that helps you learn communication and leadership skills. The skills you will learn will give you a competitive advantage in the workplace and maximize your potential. Pathways allows you to leverage more than 300 competencies across more than 60 projects. These projects are divided into 11 specialized learning paths that allow you to tailor your experience to fit your goals and your pace. While all paths have the same level of difficulty, and help to build public speaking skills and confidence. Each path has its own unique focus. All 11 paths feature elective projects to choose from that allow you to further tailor your experience. All of this content is available online and is accessible from a computer, laptop, or tablet, allowing you to learn anytime, anywhere. Printed and accessible materials are also available. With Toastmasters members around the globe, we've also translated Pathways materials into a variety of languages, including French, Simplified Chinese, and Spanish. If you'd like to work online, Basecamp is the place where you'll find all of the materials for your learning experience, along with tools for your journey. On Basecamp, you'll be able to share feedback with fellow club members, view badges you've earned, access and save digital speech evaluations, and more. When you first begin Pathways, you can take an optional online assessment that will recommend the path that best aligns with your goals. Projects include a variety of interactive elements, including questionnaires, quizzes, menus, and expandable content. Educational videos model skills and provide demonstrations of the concepts you are learning. Pathways brings with it many new learning opportunities. It upholds your club experience while allowing you to tailor your education experience to fit your needs. And best of all, your first path is free with your membership. So what are you waiting for? Choose your learning path and you'll be well on the way to building a better you.
That was a quick look at the Pathways process. As you can see, it's almost like being on a self-directed college education, actually, because there's so much content to choose from. I see a comment in the chat from Charlotte Banks, and thank you for sharing that, Charlotte. You want to share, Charlene?
Yes, Charlotte said this is going to be her 15th year with Toastmasters, and she's completed the Distinguished Toastmaster program twice. Still lots of room to improve and learn. That means that she has done at least 40 speeches, done and been evaluated on at least 40 speeches. She's done a leadership project, and she's done other things to help the meeting move along.
There's so much to learn. I mean, you really never finish. It's just those of us who are lifelong learners, we get that. You never arrive. This is a journey and not a destination, but it's so much fun along the way. You really get to learn. You meet a lot of really great people, and people are so generous with their feedback and their time in Toastmasters. It can be a little scary to take that first step. It took me a while. I had a colleague that had asked me to attend a Toastmasters meeting for over a year before I finally did it. And I have to say, I have never regretted taking that first step.
What, Lawana, you're saying angels don't sing from the ceiling and elevators for everybody?
Not for everybody, Charlene. Now, that first step, as you join a Toastmasters meeting, we all began on a level playing field. That first speech is called an icebreaker. And it can be a little intimidating, but that's your first chance when you get up in front of the group, you stand behind the lectern, you're introduced, and you deliver a 4 to 6 minute speech about, guess what? It's about you. It really should be easy. And there is a step-by-step process that is in the Toastmasters pathway that gives you the directions to create your icebreaker speech. It is so illuminating. And many people have, every time you go into a pathway, you can do another icebreaker speech. There are so many things about you and about your life that you can choose to share. It's really a lot of fun, and you get to know so much about your fellow club members. Let's learn a little bit about the icebreaker speech.
Every Toastmaster begins their journey with an icebreaker speech. As you prepare to deliver yours, you may find yourself wondering what the experience was like for others. We spoke with a few experienced members who talked about their icebreaker and shared tips that will help you.
when you're giving your icebreaker speech and you're terrified, it's okay. So my advice is just relax, because icebreaker is all about your personal story. It's all about you introducing yourself to the world. And if you get nervous, you don't know what to say, it's okay, because you're in the Toastmasters environment, and Toastmasters is a really positive and nurturing environment. So just do it and enjoy the process.
If I were to give my icebreaker speech again, I would worry about it less. Coming into it, I thought it should be perfect, and in the end I realized people don't join Toastmasters because they're great speakers. They join Toastmasters to become great speakers. So I would go into it and not worry about it and see what happens.
I've done an icebreaker speech 20 times. I've started off the manual 20 times, and the very first time I did it I was 36 years of age, and it was in New Zealand, and I can remember the name of the speech. I called it Where's Wanderings, and it was pretty superficial. All it was about was where I was born, where I was raised, what countries I'd lived in, and this type of thing. And I remember I was so nervous that I can't remember what I said afterwards. My legs were trembling, and all I remember is the applause, and people said, "Well done, Tom."
If I could do my icebreaker speech again differently, I would not write it out word for word and have 9 pages of text. I'd write it out in dot point, and I would rehearse it. And I'd learn to breathe before I delivered that speech, because I think then my audience would appreciate the timing factor and also the content that I had to deliver.
If I could do my first icebreaker speech over again, the main thing I would do is smile more. I think it's important to smile because that helps you connect better with the audience. It also helps you relax and have fun while you're telling others about yourself, which should be your favorite subject.
I think there is a lot to be terrified as an icebreaker because you're not probably known to the dynamics of public speaking, and you know that a lot of eyes are on you as the first speaker and you would want to perform. So you could make a lot of mistakes over there. But the one thing or number of advices that I would want to give to an icebreaker is to be yourself, be in touch with your mentor. Make sure that you take an advice from your mentor, because you're writing the speech for the very first time. You don't really know the transitions of the speech. So make sure that you are in touch with your mentor and someone who can guide you through that, how exactly your speech has been written and then how exactly it can be delivered. Basically, you need to be yourself. Don't worry about how is everyone going to judge you, because you're going to be there on that very stage for the very first time. So just let it loose and be yourself.
Apply these tips to help you relax and enjoy presenting your icebreaker. If you'd like more advice from experienced members, keep in mind there's a wealth of knowledge in your own club. Talk with experienced members you enjoy listening to and ask them to share their icebreaker tips.
Thanks, Charlene. Charlene has been so gracious. She's been tracking all these videos, and I just have to say, thank God for Charlene. That is not my forte. I'm so appreciative to you for bringing up all of our videos today. That last presentation really resonated with me because the icebreaker speech is a bit nerve-wracking, but I liked what the last lady said, which is smile, be yourself, have fun. Did anything that they said in that video resonate with you? If so, put it in the chat. What would be your advice to someone who's giving their speech for the first time? Or if you are new to Toastmasters and you're thinking about possibly giving your first speech, what do you think would be the most challenging part of that experience? Also, if you have a question about anything, please be jotting your questions down. We are moving to the end of our presentation, and we want to make sure that we have an opportunity to entertain some questions before we have to break away. Charlene, let's show them how to find a club. We hope at this point that you've like, yes, I'm ready, sign me up, right? And if you are, or even perhaps if you're a little intrigued and think, I kind of want to go check this thing out, Toastmasters, see what it's really all about. On the Toastmasters.org webpage, there is a Find a Club feature. Charlene, tell them how to find a club.
To find a club near you, you'll start on the Toastmasters homepage at toastmasters.org, and you'll click on Find a Club, which will be along the top right. Once you get there, type in the name of your city and state, or just start your city and they'll complete it for you. Select what they gave you. Within 25 miles of Dallas, Texas, that's good. And then hit search. A list of clubs nearby will pop up. If your computer wants to work. So you'll know that some of the clubs that we have are I Talk Toastmasters, which is in Dallas. There's also Comerica, and it's listing clubs that are in downtown Dallas right now. Let's see what happens if we put in a zip code. Is that a zip code 75223?
Yes.
Well, it doesn't believe it. Okay, it's still going to give us the same ones. We've got I Talk, but in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, there are over, I think over 150 clubs. So here we have I Talk, we have Comerica, we have Environmentally Correct. It's a club at the EPA. The Bank of America, Texas, Toastmasters. And if you click on the map, it will tell you about Vocal Visionaries. It will take you to their website and you can learn a little bit more about the club. So let's find something that's nearby. E3. One of my favorite clubs is the Dallas ISD Talk It Up Toastmaster Club. It meets off of Buckner Boulevard. And if you've ever gone by Buckner and past John West, you see that gold tinted building. They meet in that building, and it tells you that they meet on Wednesdays from 6 p.m. to 7:15 p.m. Explore that site and you'll learn more about a club that might be just the one for you.
I will say that the Dallas ISD Talk It Up Toastmasters Club happens to be my home club, and I would just be delighted if any of you would like to come and visit us. Again, as I mentioned, right now we are meeting virtually. Again, you can contact the club and say, I'm interested. Let me come check out the club. We would welcome you. You would come in, you could sit in on the meeting. If you didn't want to take a role, we give you that freedom, but we're hoping you'll just jump right in and say, yes, I'm willing to participate in table topics or to take a role at the meeting. And you can attend a couple of meetings. In fact, I would suggest you shop around and visit several clubs before you decide on the club environment that's going to be best for you. I will also say that right now, because so many of us have received our vaccines, people are starting to return to in-person meetings as well. And right now, a lot of them are meeting in a hybrid fashion, which means that there are some people in person, socially distanced, and others are joining on Zoom. That is becoming a new thing. So hopefully in the not too distant future, you'll be able to actually go back and meet in person.
Let me read in the chat. One thing Lawana asked earlier about the icebreaker was, what is it you need to remember? And I said, remember, the people are there to support you. CU Change Fitness said, remember to relax. And Dr. Fox hit it. Talking about yourself and not something that's non-personal can be a little challenging. And it is, because it's like, what do I want to tell these people? That's what makes it challenging. And I laugh because Deborah Haynes, who was also a member of our home club, said, yay, go Dallas ISD Talk It Up.
Yes. So we hope you'll go to the Find a Club function in Toastmasters.org and just put your zip code in, contact the club officer, and say, I'm interested. I want to visit your club. I guarantee you, you will be warmly welcomed. And I don't think you'll be disappointed. District 50 Toastmasters has 150 clubs, and we cover the Dallas, Northeast Texas, and Shreveport, Louisiana area. All across the nation, Toastmasters clubs are organized into districts that support the regional or area clubs with training, leadership, and they work with local businesses and organizations to start clubs and recruit new members. In fact, if your organization, perhaps the Zan Wesley Holmes Community Outreach Center, wants to start a club, we would be delighted to connect you with our club growth director. She would be happy to schedule a demo meeting that you could hold and people could come. And if you were able to get, is it 20 members, Charlene?
Yes.
If you were able to get a commitment from 20 individuals, you could start your own Toastmasters club. Some of the clubs that are in downtown Dallas, I think the Bank of America and DART and a few others are what we call, what do we call
Corporate.
those clubs?
Corporate.
Thank you. Corporate clubs, which mean that they are closed only to the individuals in that organization. I will say Dallas ISD, Talk It Up Toastmasters, is not a closed club. We are an open club. We're happy to welcome anyone from the community. So that's something to think about. You may want to start your own club. And if so, if you let us know, we have our contact information in the handout that we're going to leave with you. Let us know.
You'll find out more about District 50 Toastmasters if you are on Facebook. You can do a search for D50 Toastmasters. We've got a presence on LinkedIn. And I told you about a tool earlier. Anytime you stutter, stumble, say, I like, if you're in a meeting, we'll click you. Now, at first you'll think, oh, I hate that. But over time, this will become your friend. And if you're giving a speech and you know that you had a stutter and somebody didn't catch you on it, you'll say, I just said, how come you didn't say anything to me? After you become a Toastmaster, and I just want to add this, your life will be changed. You will never watch politicians again, because when they give speeches, they, it's horrible. And I want you to also pay attention to politicians who are really smooth. More than likely, they are Toastmasters. There are Toastmasters clubs in the U.S. Capitol. Oh, also, we have a presence at d50tm.org.
Speaking of a demo meeting, we would like to invite you to be our guest at a meeting on May 6th, Thursday, May 6th at 7 p.m. And in fact, that will be one of the handouts that Jasmine will be sharing with everybody who's on this call today. It is a demo meeting. You could come in. Again, it's virtual. You can join us from the comfort of your living room or your kitchen table. You can actually see how a Toastmasters meeting operates online, and you will have an opportunity to meet and talk with Toastmasters leaders from across the area. And if you have a question about a specific Toastmasters group, you can ask that question and you can find out how to visit that particular Toastmasters meeting. One thing I will say, I was amazed, and I continue to be amazed at the diversity of Toastmasters. You will find people of all races, all diversity, all backgrounds, multicultural. We are definitely a multicultural organization, so you need not have any fear or concern that you're going to be the only anything at a club, because most of the time you will not be.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing that Toastmasters clubs offer are spring conferences, or conferences at which you can learn about Toastmasters. It includes workshops, keynote speakers. I tell you what, some of the most phenomenal speakers I have ever heard have been Toastmasters. They are past masters at delivering keynote speeches and keynote addresses. In fact, the World Championship of Public Speaking is a Toastmasters activity where individuals from across the globe begin speaking in contests at their local club. They win, then they go to the area contest, then they go to the district contest, and finally, they could make it all the way up to the World Championship of Public Speaking at the Toastmasters International Conference. And a lot of those people, once you get up in that stratosphere, you are eligible to be a paid motivational speaker, and you can go anywhere around the world and you can set your own fees in terms of being a public speaker. This is a conference that's coming up May 12th through the 15th. There will be speech contests. There will be a DTM ceremony. As a matter of fact, Charlene, explain DTM. I know you know all about that because you have your credential.
A distinguished Toastmaster is a person who, as I said earlier, has given at least 40 speeches. You do one leadership project, and you have held several roles in the meeting, so you know how to conduct a meeting. And ideally, you'll do a project where you move Toastmasters out of the community. You'll help start a club. You might help a struggling club, but you do all of those things in order to become known as the distinguished Toastmaster. When we have the ceremony, one thing you'll do is write a blurb where you honor somebody who has helped you on your DTM journey and talk about what it is you've learned from Toastmasters. And then you get to go on the stage, give less than a 2-minute speech about your path, and you are awarded with a medallion that says you are a distinguished Toastmaster. That's the ceremony, Lawana.
It's a great journey. I'm still in my journey. I don't know when I will eventually make Distinguished Toastmaster, but I'm enjoying my journey. I feel that life is a journey and not a destination. I feel the same way about Toastmasters. Loretta, I see here that you have a question in the chat. She's asking, are all of the 40 speeches given in club settings, or do some of them happen elsewhere?
Excellent question, Loretta. Here's what you need to know. You can give the speech somewhere else as long as you arrange for a Toastmaster to be there to evaluate you.
Okay. Lawana, so how many speeches have you given?
I've given a lot. In fact, overall, I've probably given 40, but I have to be honest, I have not always asked for an evaluation by another Toastmaster, like today, for example. This is a speech. I didn't ask for an evaluator, so I probably won't get credit for this speech, but I just do them as they arise.
I can give you credit and you can give me credit as well.
Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you so much, Charlene. I appreciate that. Let's go to the next slide. Oh, I want
you
to
mentioned before you leave this, World Champions of Public Speaking. That's a big deal in Toastmasters International, and the international convention is generally held in August. Ours again will be held in August. It will be virtual this year, but I'm hoping that all of you become Toastmasters, because once we move out of Toastmaster jail, and if we move out next year, not out of Toastmaster jail, COVID jail, if we move out next year, the conference will be in Paris, France. And I'm going to be there, and I want you to be there with me. Let's do it. Alexa says, are there membership dues or new membership fees? And you saw that there is a bilingual club. Do you have to be a native speaker in that language to join? Yes, there are membership fees. The basic membership fee is $45. It covers your membership fee for 6 months. Plus you pay a $20 new member fee, which allows you to get into your first path. It allows you to get your first set of educational materials. No, you do not have to be a native speaker to join that bilingual club. Some people are working on their ability to speak another language, and some people are in that club, believe it or not, are native Spanish speakers, and they're trying to improve their abilities to speak in English in public. World champions. We have 2 world champions of public speaking in our district. We have Jim Key, who was a world champion. We had LaShonda Runnels, who was also a world champion. She was African American, and I'm saying was because she passed away about 6 years ago. And we have a world champion who originally was in San Antonio, but he's moved here. And you may have seen him on TV recently because he was an advisor, a legal advisor for NBC News on the Chauvin trial. And his name's David Henderson.
Wow. Cool. Let me just say too that how impressive is it to put on your resume, I am a Toastmaster, not to mention a distinguished Toastmaster. If you're out there and you're looking to move up the chain in your organization, move up the ladder, it is very respectable and impressive to be able to say that you are a Toastmaster. So do keep that in mind. All right, this is our last slide. It has a lot of questions in there, and I'm hoping that it might prompt a few questions for you. One of the things we want to visit is we want to visit the one that says, I'm ready to join. What now? Let's click that link and give people information about how they can join as a Toastmaster. That text is rather small, but basically it says you can become a Toastmaster in 3 easy steps. You start by visiting clubs in your area, and we've shown you how to find a club, to find one that fits your needs. Once you find a club and you're comfortable with it, you fill out a membership application and return it to the club officer along with your $45 international dues. There is a one-time new member fee that you will also pay when you become a new Toastmaster. And if you have any questions along the way, you can reach out to that particular club's officers, or you can contact Toastmasters World Headquarters, which is based in Colorado. What else do they need to know about becoming a new Toastmaster, Charlene?
You need to know too that some clubs do have a membership fee, and it's not going to be any more than $5 or $10. And it allows the club to buy things like your membership pin or your name badge. You saw one presentation where everyone in that club had on a badge. Those things, otherwise they'd be coming to you and asking you for additional money every time they wanted to buy something for you. A treasury allows people to do those sorts of things, and you don't have to come out of your pocket any further. And I think that's about it, Luana.
Yes, there's just a question that Loretta has in the chat. Do you get to say you are a Toastmaster just for joining a club? Yes, when you join a club, you are a Toastmaster. You don't have a credential behind your name yet. I have a VC4, which means I'm at level 4 as a visionary communicator in the visionary communication path. But when you first join and pay your dues, you are a Toastmaster.
And as a matter of fact, I'll show this. My credentials show that I'm a distinguished Toastmaster. But until you have reached a level like Luana, you would be like Loretta Simon, TM. You're a Toastmaster until you have gotten an educational attainment.
Well, we are ready to entertain some questions. If you want to unmute and ask a question, you certainly may, or if you have a comment, you could certainly do that as well. Feel free. Even reaction to the presentation, anything at all that you care to share. This is your moment. And Charlene is not going to click you. Let me just tell you that. You don't have to worry about being clicked.
I'll put it in the drawer.
Well, this is an exciting presentation. You both did an excellent job. I didn't realize just how extensive Toastmasters International was.
Well, thank you. Thanks so much. We hope that you are going to perhaps visit us at our demo meeting and learn a little bit more and get to meet some other Toastmasters. Certainly, we invite you to do that. I will be there, and I would be just delighted to introduce you as a guest that was attracted to that demo meeting through our presentation today. So do please feel free to join us.
And I will just add, and you'll know, Raylene, now that I joke quite a bit. When you join and you join me in Paris, we could walk around and see people from all the different countries that are members of Toastmasters.
In fact, we have, Charlene and I have gone to several world conferences. One was in Chicago, and it really is an impressive meeting because all of the Toastmasters from all over the world bring their flags, and they have at the opening session, they have the procession of the world Toastmasters, all with their flags of their nation in their native dress. It really is impressive. It's very exciting. I can't wait for Paris myself.
Well, now for the Toastmasters, you're a Toastmaster. And then what is the first credential that you would receive?
It depends on your path. So Lawana is visionary communication. That's her path. And once you finish the first 5 speeches in that path, you would be a VC1. Then when you go and do the next set of speeches in that path, you would be a VC2. And once you finish that path completely, you're just a VC5 and you can go on to another path.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Another very insightful comment in the chat. Thank you, Charlotte. She says, you gain friends for life in Toastmasters. I was never a sorority girl. I never opted in for a sorority. And I think that Toastmasters has been that niche for me. I've really met some phenomenal people and I have made friends for life. I agree. Anything else for Charlene? One thing I do want to mention, Charlene's going to have to split on us. She's going to have to go take care of a family emergency shortly. I just want everybody to please open your cameras, go on, start your video, and let's just give Charlene an amazing hand. She has done a phenomenal job as the facilitator. She is truly a presentation master. I take my hat off to you, Charlene, and I thank you so, so much for everything that you've done to support the cause today. Fantastic.
Thank you so very much. I look forward to seeing all of you at a Toastmaster meeting in the future.
I'm not Charlene, but I'm going to stay on a few more minutes. If anybody else has any more questions, I would be happy to try to entertain those for you. I do want you to keep your eye out for the handouts that Jasmine is going to share with you. I think that you will find them very informative and hopefully inspiring as well.
As well as I would like to chime in. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. My speaker tends to go out from time to time, but I would also like to chime in and say that it was also recorded, so it will be on our not Facebook. It will go on our Facebook, but it'll also be on our YouTube channel. So if you wanted to reference anything that you saw or heard today, this is also another great resource for you to go back to, as well as you can, like I said, you can also find it on our Facebook page. I will drop the Facebook name as well as our YouTube channel below. So we ask that you please follow us on Facebook and that you subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can learn about everything that's going on at the center. As well as, again, if anyone has any questions, please jump in and just blurt that out. You can definitely interrupt me here. I want to actually go ahead and stop the recording as well. But I did also, see, now you got me thinking, I just heard myself say, and the whole time you all have been talking, I was like, how many filler words did I use? I know I wasn't looking at the camera. And so I was like, so now I'm like I'm already more aware of those things that I need to do a better job at being a presenter or speaking or host rather. So trust and believe that what you all said did not fall on deaf ears. I did hear you, as well as it seems as if the participants here today definitely saw a lot of value in what you all have to say. And I will definitely be there on May the 6th at 7 p.m. And like she said, I will be sending that information out to everyone as well. So I would love to see some of your faces as well if your schedule permits and allows, especially if you're interested in joining this amazing opportunity. Like I said, it's far more than just learning how to be, I guess, a communicative speaker, but more so learning all the different skill sets that come along with being an articulate speaker. So also now I just hear the ums coming out. They're just rolling out.
14,
so,
15.
So I would also like to say that we have several classes coming up. I know we had a couple of late people that came on, so I just wanted to go through the list of those again to see if anyone was interested, as well as to ask you to please encourage others. That's a great way. If you are following us on Facebook, you can share that information. So that way, lots of your friends and family are able to get a hold of that information, especially if you don't know necessarily what's going on inside the actual home, because a lot of times people are funny when it comes to speaking thinking about their finances, which is understood, especially if you find yourself in a situation where maybe it is paycheck to paycheck or you need a little bit more. So we have our financial wellness village. You can register, and all of these can be found on our website. So if you would like to find any additional literature, you can go on our website and you can find that, as well as that's where you'll register for these. I do not have the dates in front of me, but I do know that registrations are closing soon. So we encourage you to do all of this very soon. But you have the financial wellness village, which is geared towards women that are looking to grow their assets as well as their revenue. And there's really no other qualifications outside of that. I don't know if it's limited to the Dallas area, since it will, I believe, predominantly be virtual, at least in the beginning, because of what's going on here with COVID. So I encourage you to tell everyone, but we may have to, but I say that with a grain of salt because it may come down to where it can only be Dallas participants. So I'm not 100% sure on that, but we encourage you to still, like I said, tell everyone. If we see that there's a need for it outside of this Dallas area, then that'll definitely bring attention to us and awareness. So that way we can begin to prepare and prep for that as well then. And then also we have, and everything that we do here is without cost. So everything is free. We also have the will clinic. I forgot to mention that earlier. So if you do not have a will, you need a will. Especially in light of what's going on here today in the world, no matter how young or old you are, people have definitely gotten on me and encouraged me to get a will as well. So this is an opportunity to get it done if you qualify free of charge, and you don't want to put that burden off on your family later or cause a rift in your family because no one knows or none of these things are delegated. So take care of that. I definitely impeach you all to take care of that while you are still here amongst the living. So please take advantage of that free wills clinic. And then we also have our cash flow class, which is one of our very popular classes. It is about a year commitment. However, you learn how the different asset classes, how money flows in and out of the different asset classes, and understanding the economy as a whole and how that affects your finances. And we, like I said, they also discuss cryptocurrency in there, just the stock market in general. Trying to see, and then a little bit of everything. So it's a great place to one of them were saying earlier. It's definitely a great place to network and meet people as well, and take you outside of your normal conversation. So I definitely encourage everyone to try that as well. Again, you can go and register for that. And then we have our Juneteenth Economic Forum coming up that we do every year. So we have some great topics that'll be coming out. Again, that's why I encourage you to follow us on Facebook. So that way, when you see those specific topics and you'll see the ones that pique your interest, you'll know which ones to actually sign up for, since we don't necessarily have exact dates aligned with topics just yet. And then lastly, we have our low voltage program, which should be rolling back out again this summer. So if you know anyone that is interested in picking up a new trade or skill, again, it's a completely free program. It's a 4-week commitment as of now, but again, things do change. As of now, it's a 4-week commitment. It is hands-on, so they are physically working out in the fields, learning how to become low voltage technicians, as well as they're going to also receive that financial coaching. They're going to receive wellness therapy. They're going to receive case management. So it's there, and it's also background friendly, as well as it does not require a high school diploma. You do have to be able to read at least up to the 4th grade reading level. And it does not require any previous experience. You just have to be physically capable to do the job. And of course, you have to have the desire and the want. There is a stipend that is also combined with that, because you do have to physically get yourself to the job sites yourselves. So that tries to help combat that additional expense on the individual. But aside from there, that's kind of what we have going on. If you have any questions, I'm kind of like I'll be hanging out here for a second. You can drop them in the chat, or you can take yourself off mute. Like I said, if you need to see any additional information, you can also go on our website. I will also, since I'm going to place our Facebook and YouTube, I'll also place my email address. So that way, if you have anything specific and you don't find it on the website, please feel free to email me. I will be more than glad to answer any of your questions. Lastly, I would like to thank you all again for coming out today and participating and engulfing in this great conversation that we've had. And then I would like to, I hate that we don't have Charlene anymore. I didn't get to give her my thank you and my gratitude, but I would like to ask that you please pass it along. But thank you again, Ms. Porter, for donating your time to the center today and giving us this great and valuable information. And thank you personally for making myself more aware of all of the filler words that I've been using. So without further ado, if we do not have any other questions, we'll keep it open here for maybe like another 5 to 10 minutes. And like I said, I know I'll be on here, and please look out for an email from me that will include 2 handouts for Toastmasters as well.
I see at least 2 potential Toastmasters, at least 2. I know that they are potential Toastmasters. I know that some of you have been inspired, you've been moved. Just check it out. I think it'll turn out to be something that you will really be able to appreciate. Again, thanks to Jasmine so much and the Zan Wesley Holmes Community Outreach Center. Thanks to Loretta Simon for the PR that she did to promote this opportunity. We are so grateful to have a chance to share this information. If you know a young person who is just beginning their career, Toastmasters can be an amazing vehicle to help them develop. So please share this information with anybody you know. Obviously, I'm not one of those young people, but there are so many of them that can benefit. So anyone that you know that you think might be able to benefit, by all means. I will say too that the handout that Jasmine is sending you has our contact on it. It has our contact information for me as well as Charlene, and you can certainly reach out to us with any questions that might occur to you after the fact.
Is there any interest for the Zan Wesley Home Junior Community Outreach to start their Toastmaster group?
Really, I don't want to say yay or nay. Of course, you know, I will pose it to Francis and see, but I do not know if it aligns directly with our mission. So we may actually be kind of held back because of that. Because technically we do have to operate inside of our mission.
Well, I was just interested in the effective coaching. That's why I was thinking.
You mean for the coaches for the financial wellness village?
No, well, Toastmasters.
No, I know Toastmasters. I'm saying, I thought you were saying specifically for the coaches for the financial wellness village.
Yes, yes. Because I'm like you, I'm sitting here, I'm thinking about how many fillers I use.
And that may be a great idea, because I'll pitch that to her. If not, I still, like she said, I encourage you all to attend that demo meeting, so that way they can find a club that works, that is convenient for you all. Because even with that, if we were to open it to the coaches, we don't necessarily have 20, and you have to have at least 20 people.
20
right?
people.
So we don't have people. Yeah, we don't necessarily have 20 people. But again, that's still not a complete no, because we may do with the coaches and we may be able to incorporate another group or something like that. So it's not a complete no, but just in case if we don't, I don't want you to miss out on the opportunity and not attend that waiting on us.
One thing that I will also say is when you join a club, you can receive a mentor, someone who will hold your hand, walk you through the first several meetings, walk you through pathways, help you get on a pathway